Welcome back to the Sifra channel, everyone. My name is Amjad, and today we'll be doing a little bit of a modern twist on classic Yemeni Susi. So if you know Yemeni Susi, it's basically bread with scrambled eggs, some black Nigella seeds, ghee or butter, baked, fluffy, delicious. So this is a little bit different, so don't come at me in the comments below saying this is not like how my grandmother makes it. It's okay, you're gonna love this version. I learned it from my aunt, but I made some few tweaks and twists. Some cheese, some parsley, you're gonna love it, and I'm using ready dough, so it'll make your life so much easier. So let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is melt down some ghee. So I'm just gonna stick it in the microwave. This is the fastest, easiest way to do it. And next we're going to prepare our egg mixture. Starting off with about 5 eggs, might add more later, and adding some half and half along with some milk. And remember that ghee that we melted? This is where we add it. A generous amount, don't skimp on it. Then we're gonna season with freshly ground black pepper and salt. Now once you're done giving that a good mix, let's prepare our baking dish. Now I'm taking the same melted ghee that I used before and using a brush to generously coat the bottom and the sides of my dish. Now let's prepare our fillings. Now I'm using 2 types of cheese. I have this creamy feta. You don't want to use a feta that's too salty or it may overwhelm the entire dish, so I recommend going with a more creamy, less salty, and some shredded cheddar cheese. I'm just using Mexican cheese, that's what I have on hand. It really doesn't matter. So these are the 2 cheeses that we're using, and then I also want to include some parsley. So this is some fresh curly parsley. Flat leaf will work perfectly fine. So go ahead and crinkle that up all together and chop it up very finely. You don't want big chunks of parsley in the sushi. So we've got our assembly line ready, and I'm using these Turkish Burek thin pastry sheets. Now, any thin pastry sheets from your fridge or freezer section of the grocery store will work. And I'm dipping them into the egg mixture, and as you can see, they rip up a little bit, but that's okay. The first round is always the hardest because you're still learning, how much egg will your pastry sheet soak up. So I'm just aiming for 2 layers on the bottom of the dish, and then I'll start with my fillings. So I'm starting with my shredded cheese. Now you don't want to go crazy with this. You don't want to be generous because what you will do is end up having the cheese ooze out way too much. And then I'm going to add my crumbled feta. Again, don't forget, you don't want to overdo it. So I'm just scattering it and keeping a lot of space in between. And lastly, a little bit of parsley. Again, not overdoing it because we're going to have multiple layers. Now we're going to repeat those exact steps over and over until we come halfway up the baking dish. Now the reason why we don't want to come up the entire way is because this will actually puff up nicely in the oven. So just halfway up your baking dish. Now that we're done with our layering, I'm just gonna pour the remainder of our egg mixture right on top. Don't worry, it's all going to be soaked up and cooked with it, so it'll be fine. And notice what I'm going to do. I'm just gonna tilt this a little bit and use the spoon to allow the mixture to come down to the bottom and kind of evenly sort out. And for our garnish, I'm adding some black Nigella seeds. We call them سوداء or البريك, as well as some sesame seeds. Now the sesame seeds are completely optional. Some people are allergic, so you don't want to kill anybody. But I think the combination of both is really delicious. So I've got my oven preheated at 375, and I'm gonna let it bake for about 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna crank it up to 400 so that it can really puff up and become beautifully golden brown. And as you can see, it has fluffed up. The color is amazing. The smell is even more amazing. It's not gonna stay fluffed up like this. It will go down once it cools. So be a little bit patient, and I would serve it about just 5 to 7 minutes after it comes out of the oven. And once you cut into it, you're gonna start smelling that cheese and that ghee. And look at those perfect layers. Now you can enjoy as is. Can add some hot sauce, which is what I really enjoy, and trust me, you will not be able to get enough of this. Now, let's talk about reheating. The best way to reheat this is a toaster. If you have a toaster oven, just pop it in, I would say, 3 minutes, and you've got an easy to go snack or breakfast for the weekdays. It's incredibly satisfying. I've even eaten it straight out of the fridge and it was delicious. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please don't forget to subscribe, and all the details of the recipe are down below. See you next time.